Turn pain to progression in every studio session. Turn pain to progression in every studio session. Turn pain to progression in every studio.
Welcome to Pain to Progression with Regis, Arzu. Money management for the rest of us. Now, who's the rest of us? If you found out how important credit is after you destroyed it, you are the rest of us. Unfortunately, a lot of us have to learn the hard way. I know I did. When I got to Colorado, my credit was 760, and I made some bad financial decisions. And then it got to 420. And then I had to work really hard to get it to where it is now, which is 800 plus. It took years, but you can do it. I didn't do anything you can't do. I just made a decision to put the hard work into it and fix it. And for all you youngins out there listening, you don't have to go through the same path we went through. This information is for you to not have to go through what a lot of us went through. Today's Q&A Wednesdays, where I take the questions you've messaged on my Pain to Progression Facebook and Twitter page, or the questions you've emailed me on my pain2progression@gmail.com. So, I have people to answer to as well, and production is telling me that I can't sample too many things or else I'm going to get myself sued one day, which will contradict all this finance stuff I'm doing. In my last episode, I got too hyped and sampled Coco, Big Sean, and Steve Jobs. I was told to only risk it if I had to. So I will be minimizing my sampling moving forward. But I was thinking, there's this one recording I've been trying to find a way to use and I haven't been able to think of one. So today's a better time than any to use it. Every time I hear this clip, I think of you. I've literally replayed this part over and over again, thinking about you. So here it is.
I always believed in a bigger picture. If I can get them niggas to listen outside my car, then I can open the door. Reintroduce them to honesty, show them that they need more. The difference between the pretenders and the Kendrick Lamars.
So that's J. Cole, and I love that verse. All that to say, I'm a man with a mission and I'm here to serve you. You know what? Let me play that again.
I always believed in a bigger picture. If I can get them niggas to listen outside my car, then I can open the door. Reintroduce them to honesty, show them that they need more. The difference between the pretenders and the Kendrick Lamars.
Man, if you ever wonder my why behind this podcast, that's it. Okay, production, no more sampling for a while, I promise. Alright guys, how can I serve you? Joey from Illinois asks, if I paid my car loan off, will that build my credit? Congrats on being able to pay off your car loan. You are one step closer to being debt-free. So, to answer your question straight, yes, paying your car loan will help your credit. But I want to clarify, it won't raise your credit as if you paid your credit card. So, I'm about to give you some unwarranted information with the intent to help you or someone listening. So, there are only two types of loans that report to your credit. Those are installment loans and revolving loans. The easiest to explain are installment loans. Those are car loans, mortgages, and personal loans. They're simple agreements saying, you let me borrow a certain amount, and after a certain amount of payments for an arranged amount of time, you are done. So in 30 years, for example, you will not have a mortgage payment anymore. Now, revolving is a little bit more complicated. A credit card is a revolving loan. It means that you can technically have it forever. You pay off a credit card and you can use it over and over again. That's why it's called revolving. Revolving loans have the more risk with the most reward when it comes to your credit. So if you stay under 30% of your available credit, that would help your credit more than making your regular auto loan payment. Okay, so that was a lot, but hopefully helpful and digestible. Anonymous. If I'm an illegal, can I buy a house with an I-10? Okay. I want to start by saying I am so sympathetic for illegal people in this country. It is very hard to live here and have some of the privileges we have. And I'm not talking politically. This is on a human-to-human level. If you knew what illegals had to do just to get half of what you have, you would sympathize too. Okay, to answer your question, yes, you can purchase a home without a social security card. They could use your I-10, which is an individual taxpayer identification number. But unfortunately, it comes with obstacles. Those obstacles are that you would need proof of legal income, which is hard for an illegal. You would need proof of income like pay stub or your W-2. And to add to that, interest rates are usually higher, and some places ask you to pay more than 20% as a down payment. I do sympathize. I tell my wife all the time that it sucks that we allow illegals to build the homes in this country, which I see every day, but we can't put them in the position to afford those homes. Man, guess God has a plan for all of us, right? Casey from Chicago asks, what is the best and easiest way to invest in stock? I know I've talked about how to buy stocks through the apps previously, and that was more on how to purchase and own individual stocks. Now, if you want to get into investing and putting money away on a safe bet to make more money in a few years, I have to talk about mutual funds and ETFs. A mutual fund is like a pool of stock put together for you to invest in. It's not an individual stock ownership, but you'll own multiple pieces of a variety of investments like stocks, bonds, and money markets. Now, ETFs are more or less the same, but they are bundled by a specific group of stocks passively managed. So, have you ever heard the NASDAQ is down 5% today? If you ever wondered what that means, I can tell you right now. So, NASDAQ is an ETF, exchange traded funds, that was put together to be publicly traded. NASDAQ is made up of stocks that are mostly tech and online businesses. So, Apple and Amazon can be part of it. The stocks can change as long as they fall under the same thing in an ETF. The reason for mutual funds and ETFs are for you to win. The more diversity you have in a stock, the better the chances you have for your stock going up. So if you buy NASDAQ, for example, if Apple were to go down, you still have Amazon and 100 more tech companies that either your ETF value will not fail or it will rise because when Apple failed, those other companies went up. As long as technology as a whole is good, then your investment should continue to rise. And this is for NASDAQ as an example. That's a lot of information and that's very high level. So to answer your question, Casey, I would invest in a mutual fund. Set up an auto deposit to that fund, like $25 a check, and forget about it. And then check back in 10 years and then thank me 10 years from now when you're rich. I wouldn't do ETFs because they are more expensive and can get a little more complicated. Now, the best places to buy mutual funds are Fidelity and Vanguard. They have the minimal costs. Now, just look for any mutual funds they have and read a little on it and invest in it. It's that simple. It's not as exciting as buying individual stocks, but it's a lot less riskier and you have more odds in you making more money. So, great question. So, as things were getting quote unquote settling with COVID-19, I have not been talking about it as much as I used to. I guess because whoever's going to get their stimulus money got it already. And there's not too many questions out there right now. But I am a true believer that knowledge is power, and I do want to let you know about the CARES Act and some things that fall under the CARES Act. Now, it's not as simple as it seems, but the CARES Act are laws that the government passed to help you get over this pandemic and the economic difficulties that it has brought to you. Now, a few things that you may not know that are under the CARES Act are the stimulus money and the small business loan. All of that fell under the CARES Act. Now I want to talk to you about a few other laws that are out there that hopefully can help you through these tough times. And if not, hopefully this information can help someone you know. There's a few things, so I'm going to just mention them one by one in a high level. And if you have any questions, you can email me and I would love to answer any of your questions. So under the CARES Act, you will get an additional $600 if you apply for unemployment. If you have government-funded student loans, your payments will be suspended through September 30th. You can withdraw from your retirement account if you are underage and they'll waive the 10% penalty fee. And you can pay the taxes in 3 years. Credit companies can now report to you as negative if you have a deal with the creditors. You have up to 120 days of eviction relief for tenants in federally backed housing, and you may not be served with an eviction until July 25th. And finally, if you have federally backed mortgages, which are most mortgages, you cannot be foreclosed. Foreclosures are suspended right now. My hope and intent for this information is to give someone some kind of comfort if they are making life decisions between feeding their kids and paying rent, or if they have retirement money and they think they can't touch it during these times. Hope you're staying safe through these hard times. D from New York City asks, I just got a credit card a few months ago to build credit, and my father said that the best way to build credit is to use my credit card to buy gas or pay for my Metro card, and then pay it off every month. I try to do that, but then I spend it on other things like food. What's the best way for me to build credit without having the card in my pocket? Because then I'll use it. I hope this question makes sense. Thank you. It makes perfect sense. So a lot of people recommend using your card for gas, for example, and tell them to pay it off every month. They say that to keep your card quote unquote active. Now that is not a need. As long as you have your card, it is active. The best way for you to build credit and not be tempted to use it is to have your card at $0 balance and cut the card and do not use it anymore. Now I want to clarify, do not close the account, but just cut the card. So to build credit, you need to be 30% under your available credit, not to max your card, and make sure your payments are made every month. That's it. So if you cut your card and leave it at $0 balance, you will satisfy all of the above without being tempted to use your card. Let me tell you about this thing that happened. So I worked in the branches, and to open an account, we had to pull people's credit. So this guy came to my desk and told me, I might not have good credit because I just came out. I did 4 years. That's what people that came out of jail sound like to me, apparently. So I looked at his credit and he had 780 credit score. And that was because he opened a credit card before he got locked up. Then he decided he didn't want to use it for 4 years, and that kept his credit up. All this to say is, go to jail and you will get great credit. No, I'm just joking. Cut your credit cards and stay out of jail. Dominique from Arizona asks, should I lease or finance a car? What are the difference? I get this question a lot. Thank you, Dominique, for this great question. So the difference with the two is the difference between renting a home and buying a home. As you know, buying a home is way better. So in your situation, always finance or buy. Do not lease a vehicle. You would be renting the car and you would have to pay it back and have nothing to show for it. At least if you finance a car, which finance means to take out a loan to buy a car or to take out a loan in general. You could always sell that car and get your money back. Always, always, always finance. Do not lease. There is no reason to lease a car unless you're like a rich athlete that travels all the time. Crystal asks, I was presented with this opportunity where I can be self-employed and hire other sellers under me to sell Mary Kay, which will eventually make me a lot of money. And I can make other people rich too. What do you think? Man, you guys asked me some questions that's going to get me in trouble one day. So I have to be honest. I know a lot of you are either in companies like these or have been in companies like these. Now, as I answer this, I want you to keep in mind that I always want the best for you. So I'll give you my quick answer and give you a resource that will give you a lot more information. So these companies are called multi-level marketing companies that are typically mistaken for pyramid schemes. Now, multi-level marketing companies are legal and pyramid schemes are illegal. I won't go into too much detail on differences, but both of them end up in a triangle, meaning the person on the top is the one that gets rich, while the people on the bottom are the ones that don't make any money. These businesses are made for the best of the best of the best salespeople. Now, I'm a great salesperson, and I mean I'm a really good salesperson, and I would never get in one of these companies. Now, that's just me personally. So to answer your question, Crystal, if I were you, I would step away, and that's just my opinion. Now, in my show notes, I will leave a link to a video by John Oliver, who can very well explain multi-level marketing companies a lot better than me in a lot more entertaining way. If you are in one of these companies or are thinking about one, please watch the video. Okay, my P2P family, hope there was some great information there for you. I'll see you Friday where I'll interview somebody new, just like you, to inspire you to take action. If you want to contact me, please check out my website at paintoprogression.com, which will be on my show notes. Now, this information is for you to use and grow financially, but it's also for you to share. Please subscribe and share. Now, I want to mention, thank you for sharing. I get access to seeing my viewership numbers, and they are growing fast each day. That's because you guys are sharing this. I can see it. I want you to know that you are playing a huge role in changing people's lives by getting them access to this information you didn't have prior. This is for you, by you. Paying this information forward is how we change the lives of our children and our children's children. Let's flip this world upside down. Thank you, my brothers and sisters.